Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we are going to read a poem, A Legend of the Northland, composed by Phoebe Cary. The poem is from your NCERT book, Beehive. So here is a brief introduction of the poet. Phoebe Cary was born on 4th of September 1824 and she died on 31st of July 1871. She was an American poet and the younger sister of poet Alice Cary. So children, the poem is in the form of a ballad. So what is a ballad? A ballad is a song that narrates a story in short stanzas. So this poem is a story that is narrated in short stanzas. And the theme of the poem is we get a lot of moral teachings from our old traditional stories. These stories help to learn things from the past, and the ideas from these stories help to reform society. In this poem, we come across a man who is in dire need of food. He visits a woman's cottage and he asks her for food, but she doesn't give him anything. So he curses the woman for her selfish behavior. The need to treat our guests with affection is emphasized here in this poem. So I start the poem. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. So the setting of the poem is in Northland. So this is a place from which the story is derived. She says that here days are short and nights are long. It is so cold that people cannot sleep comfortably at night. They often wake up because they are unable to bear the temperature because it is too cold. Stanza 2. Where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bears' cubs in their funny furry clothes. The poet describes the people of this place. So she says that the people of Northland enjoy sledging whenever it is snowfall, and they tie reindeer up to their sledges. And because the temperature is too low or due to extreme cold, children wear heavy woolen clothes which cover them up completely and they look like the cubs of bears. So the poet means to say that children are wearing furry woolen clothes, that's why they are looking like the cubs of bears. Stanza 3. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe this true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. The poet is talking about how parents in this place in Northland are telling their children a story. The poet doesn't believe the story. The poet says that she doesn't know whether the story is a truth or a myth. But she says that the story should be narrated to each and every child because this is an interesting story and it instills the values of generosity and kindness among the children. Stanza 4. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in world below and walked about it preaching just as he did, you know. So children, here the story starts. So the people of Northland narrate a story to their children and from here the story has started. So this was a time when Saint Peter was traveling around the world and he was preaching the teachings of Jesus Christ. He came to the door of a cottage and traveling round the earth where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. While moving around the world with his preachings, he came to the house of a little woman and he saw that she was baking cakes on the fireplace. So Saint Peter stopped there because he was hungry and he wanted the lady to give him a piece of cake. Stanza 6. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter was tired and he was exhausted as it was the end of the long day. So he asked the woman to give him a piece of cake that was already bagged by her and she had kept those bagged cakes in the shelf. So he asked her that she should give him a single piece out of them. Stanza 7. So he made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. The lady didn't touch the baked cakes because she thought that they were big to give. That's why she thought that she will prepare a small cake. So she made a very small cake. But before she could give it to Saint Peter, she thought that it was too big to just be given away like that, because she didn't want to give any piece for free. She was greedy. So she didn't give this piece too. That was a small piece. Stanza 8. Therefore she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. So the lady attempted for the second time to make or to bake a small piece for Saint Peter, but as she prepared it, as it was baked and this was the time to give it to Saint Peter, she found that it was as big as the earlier one. That's why she again dropped the idea to give it to Saint Peter. And now in next stanza we'll see what happens. Stanza 9. Then she took a tiny scrape of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she couldn't part with that. The lady was so greedy and selfish that she had taken the smallest or the tiniest dough to bake a cake for Saint Peter. She rolled it flat, and now the cake was looking like a wafer. And when it was the time to give it to Saint Peter, she couldn't part that piece. It means she couldn't give it to Saint Peter because she thought that she was giving it free. That's why she dropped the idea again. Next stanza. For she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. Now the woman said that the cakes were seeming small when she herself was to eat them, but they were looking too big to be given away in free. As a result, she kept all the cakes that were baked, even the wafer, on the shelf, and she didn't give anything to Saint Peter. And Saint Peter had been waiting for the peace for a long time. Next stanza. The good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. The poet says that Saint Peter's reaction to the woman was unbearable. Now he lost his temper because he was hungry and weak and he needed to have some food very badly. And the inhuman behavior of the greedy and selfish woman had irritated Saint Peter and he could not control his temper. Next stanza. And he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. Now Saint Peter had lost his temper, so he cursed the selfish woman and he told her that she did not deserve to have the comforts of the human life, and she could not have a warm fire, a house to live in, a good food to eat, whatever she desired. So he cursed the lady. Next stanza. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. Saint Peter told the woman that she would have to live a life of a bird, and she will have to build her own nest. She will have to dig holes into wood so that she could get worms and insects to feed herself. So the saint was angry now, and he had cursed the lady that she will have to live the life of a bird now onwards. Next stanza. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. The woman went up the place where the steam or the smoke was coming out, and she was speechless. She could not say anything because she knew that she was at fault. She had turned into a woodpecker. The same woodpecker could be seen flying out of the top of the chimney. Means the place where the woman was standing, now a woodpecker could be seen there. Next stanza. She had a scarlet cape on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. The poet explains the reason of red color on the head of the woodpecker. She says that when this little woman was in human form, she was wearing red color cap on her head. That's why when the lady changed into a bird, the red color could be seen on the head of the woodpecker. However, her clothes were burnt and had become black as a coal. The woodpecker's body is of the same color. So she says that the clothes could not be seen. Her body was of black color, but the red cape that was on the head of the lady could be seen in the form of a red color on the head of the woodpecker. Next stanza. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. So the poet says that everyone in the village has seen the woodpecker. She still digs into bark of trees and looks for worms and insects to feed on. So children, this was the poem, and the poem has conveyed a beautiful and important message for us all, that when people come to us for help, and if we can afford to help them, if we are in a position to help them, then we should be thankful and grateful to God that we can help others. We are the luckiest person that we are helping others. We should not step back being greedy and selfish. We should give them whatever they want, because God sees everything. If you give one thing to other, God gives you two things together. We should welcome our guests with affection, and we should be nice to them, and we should instill kindness, generosity and charity in our behavior for others. Thank you.